All right, so talking about a barrier, how do you deal with hitting a barrier? See, as an entrepreneur, as you're expanding your base, you're doing your outreaches, you're growing your team, you're growing your client base, whatever you're doing, you're going to reach a moment where you hit a wall, you hit a barrier, right? Whether it's subconsciously or consciously, it's going to be something that you will definitely experience, right? No matter who you are, what industry you come from, where are you operating, it is something that you will definitely hit at some point, and you must figure out a way to be able to navigate through that barrier, right? So for me personally, my barrier was the idea of success itself, or the idea of breaking through. See, sometimes the battle is subconscious. It is subconscious more than it is, your work ethic or what's there in the outside, right? Sometimes it might be your beliefs, because let's be honest, your beliefs were instilled into you before you came out of your mother's womb. Believe it or not, your beliefs about success, money, growth, scaling, running a business of any form has been instilled to you since you were a little baby, right? And if you don't break free from these beliefs, there is a certain barrier that you're going to hit. So it might be, you might suddenly start self-sabotaging once you are, that you are in the corner of a breakthrough. Or once you're starting to break through, right? You can start to delay the process, right? That that you are getting there. But, in your mind, there is this, some forms of limiting beliefs. So like you start to either get distracted, either start searching things that don't matter, or engaging in self-destructive thinking or habits or whatever it is, right? I don't know who you are, but this is something that is it's very common for not only entrepreneurs. It's common for athletes. It's common for a lot of different kinds of people in general. So you have to figure out a way to work on your subconscious as much as you're working on your strategy, your work, your volume, this and that. You have to work on the belief that yes, that you could succeed. Success belongs to you. If you put in the work, you could succeed, because a lot of different sentences may pop into your head, right? Maybe you're on the verge of success, but you have the belief that, success takes 10 years, or that, we don't succeed. We're immigrants. We come from a family that doesn't, we're not this or that, or, all of these kinds of thoughts that run into your mind. And that if you are an entrepreneur, especially an immigrant entrepreneur, you're gonna get what I'm talking about, right? So you're going to have to work on these beliefs, right? You're going to have to, and how do you work on these beliefs? You work, through them with facts. So, like, let's say whenever you start getting these beliefs, you have to, pull up, whatever evidence of results. Doesn't have to be a massive result, right? It can be any kind of tractional result that you have done so far, and you have to tell yourself that, oh yeah, okay, if I work, right, I can get some form of success, right? The true fact is, it takes 10 years to arrive to a massive success, a massive level of success. Yes, that's a fact, but to get some form of success, it takes around, it can take a year or 2 years if you are focused, if you are truly, you're obsessed over your craft and what you're doing, the outreach or whatever it is that you're doing. So yeah, you have to fix and work on your subconscious beliefs. And that's especially if you're on the verge of winning. That's even more applicable than if when you're, you know, when you're a nobody, when you're like you're nothing, right? Because it starts to attack you once you are on that, starting to, you know, amount, or starting to, you know, see some form of results. So yeah, this is why it's like you are your own, you know, biggest enemy and competitor at the end of the day. It's your own mind that's going to, you know, play these manipulative tactics on you. See, your mind and your subconscious is very manipulative. It's super manipulative. It's going to, you know, from some form tell you that, you know, it's not gonna come out there and, you know, outwardly tell you that you're a loser. No. It's going to, you know, sprinkle some doubt, right? Sprinkle some, you know, especially after you start having some momentum, it can sprinkle some, oh, you know, but this or that. So you have to be aware properly of this issue and work around it. Alright guys, thank you so much. I'll see you at the next video.